through disturbing creepy motel horror stories. I embarked on a journey with my newlywed husband, Joseph, as we headed back from our honeymoon. Our plan was to drive to a beachside destination, enjoying the scenic route. However, our idyllic journey took a sinister turn when our car suddenly broke down in the middle of nowhere. Stranded and isolated, we attempted to call for help, only to find that there was no network coverage. The sun began its descent, casting a sense of urgency upon us. As the daylight faded, a car approached and then abruptly stopped, reversing to our location. A man named Rob, with pale blue eyes and a peculiar haircut, emerged from the vehicle. He offered help and suggested we spend the night at a nearby motel he mentioned. Although we felt uneasy about the situation, we were left with little choice. Our car was pushed aside, and we accompanied Rob to the motel. The motel, called Highway Heaven, was a far cry from its name. Its eerie ambience was accentuated by dim lighting and an unsettling Victorian decor. Despite our apprehensions, we were told that we could stay there for free, and Rob promised to take us to a nearby garage the next morning. As night fell, we settled into our room, which exuded a disconcerting vibe. Soon after, a knock on the door signaled Rob's arrival, inviting us for a special dinner he had prepared. His strange smile made me uneasy, yet we couldn't resist the aroma of the food. While dining, I inquired about his wife, only to learn that she had taken her own life while pregnant. The conversation sent shivers down my spine, but the delicious meal managed to temporarily overshadow my discomfort. Later that night, I was awakened by eerie sounds outside our room. Through the door's gap, I caught glimpses of shifting light and heard unsettling noises. I woke Joseph, but the sounds ceased before he could investigate. An inexplicable fear settled within me, but Joseph dismissed my concerns and checked the hallway. Seeing nothing, he returned to bed. In the middle of the night, we were awakened by the sound of heavy pounding, as if someone were using an axe. To our shock, the shadow of a man emerged outside our window, wielding an axe, while another person pleaded for their life. We rushed to inform Rob, but he was nowhere to be found. Panic surged through us as we attempted to leave the motel, only to discover that the phone line was dead, trapping us within the unsettling environment. Desperation guided us as we ventured upstairs to investigate the source of the noise. Each room we checked was empty, devoid of furniture and occupants. Suddenly, a room door swung open, revealing Rob standing with an axe smeared in blood. His chilling words revealed a dark intent. He despised marriage and was determined to eliminate all who embraced it. With the axe raised menacingly, he pursued us with a macabre laugh, his intentions clear. Fueled by fear, we raced downstairs towards the main entrance, only to find it locked. As Rob closed in, I noticed a rug on the floor and an idea struck me. Swiftly, I yanked the rug from under Rob's feet, causing him to stumble and lose his grip on the axe. He crashed to the ground, dazed and disoriented. In that critical moment, Joseph managed to break open the door, granting us an escape route. As we fled from the nightmarish motel, Rob's threat and maniacal laughter lingered in our ears. The ordeal was a harrowing experience that left an indelible mark on us. The night of terror at Highway Haven would forever remind us that even in the face of unexpected horror, our resilience and resourcefulness could lead us to safety. As we escaped the wretched motel, the adrenaline pumping through our veins was the only thing that kept us moving. The night was pitch black, with only the moon's feeble glow offering any semblance of light. Every rustling leaf, every distant sound, seemed to echo the malevolent atmosphere that had engulfed us. Rob's chilling laughter echoed in our minds, a constant reminder of the sinister encounter we had just narrowly escaped. The road stretched ahead like an abyss, and we stumbled through the darkness, desperate to put as much distance as possible between ourselves and that accursed place. The night air felt thick with an unsettling energy, like a looming presence just beyond our perception. Our breaths came in ragged gasps, and the sound of our hurried footsteps seemed to blend with the ominous symphony of the night. As we walked, a dense fog began to roll in, obscuring our path and shrouding everything in an eerie haze. Shapes moved within the mist, fleeting glimpses of something unnatural. Whispers seemed to echo on the wind, twisted voices that carried promises of doom. My heart pounded in my chest, each beat a reminder that danger was never far behind. Suddenly, we heard the distant sound of footsteps, quickening our pace. Glancing back, we saw shadows moving within the fog, forms that seemed to twist and contort with unnatural speed. Panic set in as we realized we were being pursued. The chilling realization that whatever malevolent force had been unleashed at that motel was still lingering, hungry for more victims. The fog seemed to close in around us, forming an impenetrable wall that confined us to this nightmarish realm. Our breathing grew labored, and the sense of suffocation intensified with every step. The whispers grew louder, voices now distinct, uttering nonsensical words that seemed to be speaking directly into our minds. Sanity began to fray at the edges as we struggled to keep our wits about us. Shapes began to emerge from the fog, grotesque figures with elongated limbs and twisted features. They moved in a disjointed, jerky manner, their movements defying the laws of nature. Their eyes gleamed with an otherworldly malevolence, fixated on us with an unsettling hunger. We tried to run, but our legs felt heavy, as if some invisible force was holding us back. In the distance, we saw a flickering light, a faint beacon of hope. We stumbled towards it, our bodies driven by sheer desperation. The light revealed a dilapidated cabin, its windows shattered and walls covered in strange symbols. The door creaked open as we approached, and a cold gust of wind carried the stench of decay. We had no other choice but to enter, our fear outweighing our hesitation. Inside, the air was heavy with an oppressive darkness that seemed to press down on us. The cabin's walls seemed to pulse with a malevolent energy, as if the very structure of the building was alive with an insidious purpose. The symbols etched into the walls glowed with an eerie light, casting twisted shadows that danced on the floor. A voice echoed through the cabin, a guttural whisper that seemed to come from all directions at once. It spoke of ancient curses and unspeakable rituals, of a force that had been awakened by our unwitting presence. The walls seemed to close in around us, the cabin itself a sentient entity determined to claim us for its own. As we backed into a corner, our eyes met, the terror in each other's gaze reflecting our shared dread. The cabin's walls seemed to twist and contort, closing in on us with an unrelenting grasp. The symbols on the walls seemed to write, their sinister energy seeping into our very souls. And then, with a sudden jolt, the world around us shifted, and we found ourselves trapped in a never-ending nightmare. Time lost all meaning as we wandered through the twisted corridors of our own minds, tormented by visions of our deepest fears. Faces of loved ones morphed into grotesque masks of horror, and the echoes of our own screams reverberated through the darkness. Reality became a malleable construct, and the boundaries between dream and nightmare blurred beyond recognition. Days turned into nights, and the cabin's walls seemed to stretch infinitely, a labyrinth of torment. We became trapped in a cycle of agony, our thoughts spiraling into madness as we struggled to cling to any semblance of sanity. The cabin had become a prison of our own making, a manifestation of the darkness that had taken root within us. And then, one fateful night, we awoke in our car, the sun rising on the horizon. The fog had lifted, and the air was crisp with the promise of a new day. Confusion gripped us as we tried to make sense of our surroundings. Had it all been a nightmare? A shared hallucination born from the stress and fear of that forsaken motel? As we drove away from the scene, doubt not at us. The scars of that night remained, etched into our minds and hearts. The memories of the horrors we had faced were too vivid, too visceral to dismiss as mere figments of imagination. And as we left the desolate stretch of road behind, a feeling of unease lingered, a reminder that some terrors could never truly be escaped. In the rearview mirror, a fleeting glimpse of a shadowy figure seemed to watch us, its eyes gleaming with an otherworldly malevolence. The cabin's twisted laughter echoed in the wind, a chilling reminder that the boundary between reality and nightmare had been forever shattered. And as we drove into the distance, the darkness that had once consumed us remained, a lurking presence just beyond the edge of perception, waiting for its next opportunity to engulf unsuspecting souls in its unrelenting horror.